It's your boy Jamar Cigar again. I'm back at it again. Tobacco preparation. I will say when you get your tobacco, I would say it's probably maybe a 20% chance that tobacco is going to be ready to be rolled at that particular time. A lot of times you have to case this tobacco, which means we have to find some way to bring humidity back to this tobacco. You have to be very careful, and it takes some practice at getting good at this and trying to figure it out. As far as filler goes, when I'm working with filler, for my Seco, like I said, this is the bread and the butter to my blending. Like for every tobacco, to any tobacconist who rolls, they'll tell you that the Seco needs to be flexible. Flexible enough to bend and fold where it doesn't break on you when you're doing this. Right here, look, it's not breaking, it's not pulling apart. It's soft enough where I can bend it, but it's not wet. And that's the way that you want your Seco to be. And I say, I want all of my filler to be like that. Some people like to work with Ligero to be a little bit more dry, but me personally, I need it to be flexible because it helps me get a read on the tobacco's composition when I'm bunching it. A big thing that you have to learn is how to hold your hand and how to feel how much tobacco should be there. And that will come after a while. Each mold is going to be a different size, so you have to understand how much tobacco it takes to get that particular ring gauge size. So for me, when my tobacco is softer, I can feel it a lot better as far as how it should feel in my hand. I can feel like some spots, if it's not enough tobacco there, I can feel it within my hand. But you'll get good at that after a while. So I would say for your filler, you want all of your filler to kind of be at a point where when you bend it, it's not crackling and breaking on you. If it's breaking and cracking, you probably need to go down and spray all of your tobacco down. And just be careful. You only need, this is how much you need sometimes for your filler. That's all you need sometimes. And put it together, just do all the leaves just like that, put them all on top of each other. And then find a bag or some type of storage compartment. I use these when I'm rolling. These things are great. And I will spray all my leaves and I'll let them sit for a while so they'll get, soft and pliable. But I don't want them to be wet. If you roll with wet tobacco, like if it's too wet, what's going to happen is those leaves and those channels are going to stick to each other inside the bunch. When you press it down, it's going to block all the airways and it's going to make it very difficult for that tobacco to draw when you're pulling on it. So I would say you want it to be pliable, but you don't want it wet. So that's what you have to find when it comes to getting the tobacco ready. As far as the binder is concerned, the binder can be a little bit more wet. I don't know if I have. I do. This could be a good point right here. My binder. Some people roll with an even drier binder, but my binder is like almost like leather. It's very. It's much more damp than my filler is, but my binder is very elastic. It feels almost like leather. How much I've added to it. So I spray down my leaves. I actually devein them as well. I can show you a trick for that later. But you want your binder to almost be supple enough because it's going to have to fold around that bunch that you're making. And it has to be pliable enough where it's not breaking apart when you're twisting it all up. So that's big. As far as your wrapper is concerned, your wrapper almost should be, to me, my wrapper is very similar to my binder, but I will say that my wrapper will sit after it's sprayed for a lot longer. And sometimes this spraying for the binder and the filler, the binder and the wrapper may take a couple hours. It may take 12 hours. It may take a day just to get it to the point where it's pliable enough for you to work with. So it just takes time. But I will tell you that if you err on the side of making it where it's soft enough where it feels like leather between your binder and your wrapper, you can work with that. And it takes some time to get to that point. But like I said, I wish you guys could feel it and see how it feels. But This is the leaf preparation part, and a lot of people don't tell you about this part when you're rolling cigars. This is the most time intensive part of your whole process, making sure that the tobacco is properly cased and actually pliable enough for you to work with. And this can take up to a day sometimes. So this is the time that at that point you're getting all your stuff together and getting everything right together. This is going to take the most time, and I'll tell you that. And I'll say definitely get you a whole bunch of Ziploc bags. My son's name is on here, but get you a whole bunch of Ziploc bags or some type of bags that you can close somehow and keep that humidity in, because that's what you're going to need. And that's what I think that's the best option for you. But just realize that part is going to take some time and just time to get used to. But like I said, run it back. Filler, not wet, not damp. It needs to be just pliable enough for you to work with. Binder and wrapper, those two should feel like leather once you've sprayed them all down and let it sit for a while. You don't want to work with wet leaf. I don't work with wet leaves. Now, I will say that some tobacco factories, if you watch them roll, their leaves are super wet and they stretch them on these stainless steel boards. That's a different story, and I'm not going to talk about that because a lot of you guys are not going to have stainless steel boards to work with. So I would say if you're going to deal with a wood board, do not have super wet leaves when you're talking about your binder and your wrapper. It's not going to be nice for you. I promise you. I've tried that method. It just doesn't work out well when it comes to wet boards and working with tobacco. So remember that. This is leaf preparation. I'll be back to you guys in a bit, and we'll talk about getting this thing started